Hey guys, welcome to my second YouTube video. It's been a while since I posted my McLaren guide on how to design that poster, but in this video we're going to demonstrate how to design this poster right here. And the reason why I chose this poster is because it's been blowing up on Pinterest with over 100,000 views, and so I would like to teach you guys how to design posters. The poster itself looks a bit complicated, but honestly it's just a mixture of simple little tasks that we do that makes it look elegant and pretty cool as well. I've also included all the images that I've used in the description so that you guys can follow along and create your own designs, or you can use your own images as well. The fonts that I'm going to be using is Degular from Adobe Fonts, so as long as you have Creative Cloud you can easily get the fonts that I'm using. Alright, with all that being said, let's start the design. So the first thing you obviously want to do is you want to go to File and you want to create new right here. Once you make new, this is the sizes that I normally go with when designing a poster. I go with 18 by 24 and 300 resolution. You want the best resolution when you're printing because you don't want anything to be pixelated and it doesn't look that well and your work is devalued essentially. You also want to change the color mode to CMYK because printers respond the best to CMYK. And RGB you can also use, but that's mainly for things like social media advertisements or social media content that you're making there, as well as websites and so forth. The background contents really doesn't matter, it's just your preference. You can even go with transparent. I just like going with black because it doesn't blind me and I can clearly see what I'm doing. Once you're done with setting up, you can change the title of the poster here. So I'm just going to do YouTube 1 and we can create the file. So this is basically what the file is going to look like at the beginning, and we want to have some guides so that it helps us follow along and make it organized. And so the best way to do that is you just go to View and you go to Guides, New Guide Layout. This already has my setup. Basically I go with 8 columns and 8 rows with 20 gutter and 40 margin. The gutter is the space between these two lines here, and the margins is the edge right here all around. If you can't see the preview, just click preview right here, and once you're done with your setup you can click OK. While you're designing, it's also going to be really annoying that the lines move on you, and the best way to solve that is just by going to View and then Guides and Lock Guides. So now if I try to move it, it won't move as the guides are locked and you can design on top of them. Also, when you're looking at your design, you don't have to look at the guides all the time. All you need to do is Control H and it will get rid of the guides for you. And if you want to bring them back, all you have to do is Control H as well. So now that we have the document set up, we're just going to start with the design. So on the original poster, you can see that I have a split between two rectangles, and so we're going to start with that. We're going to do the first rectangle right here from this corner all the way to this corner, and we're going to make it past towards the bleed area there. Perfect. Okay, and once we've drawn out the square, we got to make sure that we remove the stroke and we add a color to it. And then you also want to do the same to the other side. What I'm going to do is hold Alt and just drag the shape to the side, which basically just duplicates the shape, and you want to make it go on the other side. So this is the image that we're going to be using for this poster. And now that we have the image in the design as well, what we're going to do is make the image clipped to the shape. And to do that, you just click on the image and make sure that the shape you want to clip to is below the image, and you want to right click the image and create clipping mask. You can also do Alt Control G, and this basically makes the shape the only place that's going to have the image. And so we want to find like a nice placement, and I like that perfectly. Obviously we can always change it in the future, and I like to also keep organized while designing, and so I'm going to call this folder model. We can start with the text, and so with this design I used Blossom as the text, and we're going to go for a color that sort of matches the theme of her, and I was thinking something along here, the very dark colors. That looks really good so far. And we're gonna go with regular black. And the size, we're gonna go with 300 for now, but we can probably adjust this depending on how it fits with our design in a second. So we're just gonna do something like that. And I think it looks a bit too dark, so we're gonna find a different color that might look a bit better, and I like that. That looks really good. That's perfect. So we're just gonna leave the text here for now, and we're gonna move on to the other text that we're also gonna have in this block. And so again, I'm gonna click Alt, and then I'm just gonna drag it, and it makes a duplicate version of it. And I know that I use Blossom again on the bottom. And so I'm just gonna make it small, because I'm gonna use one there. And I'm gonna use it again on the top with the text 2024. And we'll leave it there for now. One thing to keep in mind when you're designing is to have a consistent flow with both left and right. And so right now when you look at this design, you can see that there's a lot over on this side and not much happening on these corners here. And so that's why I added text on the side as well. And so we're gonna do that right now. And I can just show you the difference. If you do this, it sort of balances the poster out a bit more instead of having just text here. You want to have a nice flow with your work. And on the bottom here, I switched to white for now. Eventually we can switch the color as well if it's needed. And I changed the text to embrace the beauty of innocence and the magic of growth. And we're gonna make that about 20 for now. And the top part, the number of poster that we were doing at the time, and that kind of gives the balance that we need for the poster design. Once I reach this point of having things layered out, this is when I begin planning how I'm gonna make it look better. And so the first thing that I noticed was that this blossom was a bit too thin compared to the shape itself. And so what I'm gonna do here is Control J, which creates a new layer. And then we are going to hide the previous layer. Once you've duplicated it, you want to make a rasterized type. And this will allow us to stretch it out. And so I'm just gonna stretch it out a little bit so that if it's a bit more in the rectangle. I've also added an effect to the text, which you can see on the previous poster here. And honestly, that's made very easily. All you need to do is select the layer, go to filter and liquefy. All you need to do is select this tool right here, and you can just see we can start the design of how we want it. And we're just gonna go for that. Once you're done with the design, you just click OK. Once the liquefying is done, the best thing to do is make sure that it's centered on that shape. And so you select the text and you also select the rectangle on the back, and it's gonna have the alignment tools over here. And this will basically align it from left to right, while this one will align it from top to bottom. But in this case, we want to use both. And now you can see that it's perfectly in the middle from both sides. And then I also designed a square around the edge of the shape. And so we're gonna do that right now. Perfect. Remove the fill and add a stroke instead. And I also changed the stroke to this pattern right here. And we increased it to, let's try 4. Now that we have the essentials created, we're going to make the effect that we have here on this poster with the ghost-like appearance. And it's very simple to create. All you need to do is go to your model, and you want to make a line with this selection here. You want to make it just from her half the face or wherever you want on your design, and you're going to do Control J once you've selected it. That basically makes a line of the face, and once you're in there, you want to Control T on the layer, and you want to hold Shift and drag it all the way to the side. Right now it looks extremely funny, and it doesn't really make sense what I'm doing, but just bear with me. You want to make a mask layer now, and you also want to do a gradient. You have to make sure that it's black going into transparent. And from there, while on the mask, you can design the gradient so that it appears how you want. And I definitely like that right there. When I was designing this poster, I noticed that this eye got lost, and so I wanted it still to be there, but also enhanced so that people can just look at it and see it from a distance. And so the way that I figured to do that would be a square with a stroke of the same color as this and a straight line. We can obviously resize it to something that looks appropriate to us, but I like that so far. We need to make sure that the shape has a fill because we want to add an image on it, right? And so to do that, it needs to have a fill, or else it's just going to take the stroke. And so I'm just going to duplicate the image, and we're going to bring it up to the rectangle, and again we're going to make a clipping mask to that shape. From there we're also going to add a drop shadow, which makes it pop out a bit more than it was already before. So now what we're going to do is create the hand effect as well as the flower above the rectangle that we initially had. And how we're going to do that is just Control J. It will duplicate the layer, bring it all the way to the top, and you'll notice that it's above everything now. And we're going to make a masking layer so that we can erase stuff but also get it back. And how this works is if you color with black, it will erase to the original, whereas if you do white, it will bring it back. And so I'm just going to take out what I know I won't need, which is this whole part. Even the hand we can erase because it's already there initially. Now that we've reached this step, the next thing to do is to add our textures. If we look at my textures here, we can see that I have a bunch of textures from Design Syndrome. And let's say that I wanted to add this one right here. We would just add it on, and you can kind of see that it kind of gives an effect to it. And you can also play around with the blending modes to make it look a bit more natural. This is how I designed the poster. It looks really cool and very easy to do, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I would love to see your guys' creations on my Instagram, Creative Barrows. See you guys next time.